Thank you for sticking with us. We are so pleased to welcome Principal Mike Thorpe to the show. Thank you so much for making time with us. I know you're very busy.
Very busy these days.
Yes, but you squeezed us in, and I appreciate that. I'm going to confess, this was my favorite story in all 64 pages because, for many reasons, because you guys did not use the excuses on paper that your school has to not perform well. And because when you made the big jump from the D to the A, you didn't let that rest. That wasn't good enough. The culture of constant improvement is something that you and your staff have worked super hard on. So what was the secret?
What is the secret? That's the million-dollar question.
It is.
It's in this article.
It's right here.
This article,
right here.
And I think it says that there is no secret. The secret is it takes a lot of great folks, and I'm very fortunate to have just wonderful teachers, wonderful administrative staff, and wonderful students that bought in to let's try some things different. Let's study data more than we've ever studied before. Let's try to identify the source of our deficiencies and go and attack those deficiencies. Our teachers bought into forming relationships with students that go beyond reading, writing, arithmetic. It goes to the needs of students, the what's getting in the way of learning. And we're very fortunate that everything kind of came together and great things happened and continue to happen. We were fortunate to see some success early on, and success breeds success. So as we've experienced success, that has made the teachers and the students want to do more. Folks have focused more on relationships than you ever could imagine at our school, and that kid sitting in the second row, the third seat, is not the kid in the second row, third seat. That kid is the one that I know he has only one parent at home, and they're struggling financially, and he needs a chance. He needs a chance. If I can spend a little bit extra time with that child, I can get him over the hump. And that's the attitude our teachers have, and they've grabbed that culture we have on our campus and just continue to use that to excel. And
you helped set the tone, I'm sure, for that by giving them the space to do that.
Absolutely.
I mean, they have a lot of, teachers have a ton of responsibilities, and I mean, the testing is always changing, and we could have a whole other show about all that.
Sure.
But they have to feel like it's okay for them to do that.
Sure, and I'll brag on our administrative team. Our administrative team, from the first day, has worked hard to pull a lot of those very time-consuming tasks off of teachers' shoulders and taking them on the administrative shoulders, so that our teachers can form those personal relationships. They can focus on the data points that tell the best story for us, for figuring out what the problem might be, and that has freed our teachers up, like you say, freed our teachers up to change lives.
What kind of data do you guys collect on students? I mean, I'm sure there's any number of things you could look at.
Sure.
So what kind of came to the surface as the best indicators for you?
What has helped us the most, I believe, is to go back and historically look at a child's education. And you can almost go back to those elementary days, and you can follow their educational growth, and then all of a sudden you'll see something happen. These are at-risk students.
Right.
You'll see something happen at some point. Maybe it was 5th grade, maybe it was 7th grade, maybe it was 9th grade. And then if you go back in time and you sit and you talk to that student, you find out what happened. You'll hear some of the most tragic stories that you ever can imagine, but it'll help you understand what they're going through. And once you understand what they're going through, we're educators. We know how to fix problems. Then we go and we work on fixing the particular problem for that child. But it's been interesting to go back and look at those kids that are having a difficulty. Go back early on in their educational career and just follow the data and see when did their grades start slipping, when did their attendance go haywire, when did the problem start, and then go back again and figure out what happened during that school year.
So when you made the big jump from the D to the A, I'm sure that was super exciting. That had to be a great day.
We had a pep rally.
Exactly.
We had a pep rally.
What do you do? Then it's like, okay, well, what now?
Yeah. Well, what now was we had improved a lot, and we were very proud about improving a lot. But but it felt so good we wanted to continue.
Oh, yeah.
And so
And
our
you get
folks
new
went
kids.
to-
These kids don't stay in high
That-
school the whole time.
Right.
That's
No,
okay.
because you're getting them through high school
send
in
us
4
that
years.
new crop.
That's
Send us
right.
that new crop. It excited our folks. We could kind of mention, hey, why don't we try this or why don't we try that? Well, we had some success, so okay, let's try it, Mike.
Yeah.
And that's the culture that I'm able to go to work in every day now is just teachers excited about their job, students excited about attending school, and great things happening on our campus. Now we have our problems like everyone else has. But we're working our way through them. We are not, as I have heard someone say recently, we try not to deny what the data is telling us because that's easy to do.
Sure.
It's easy to make an excuse. It's easy to go, oh, it's not as bad as we think. But when we have when we have data points that tell us there's a problem, our campus attacks that problem and tries every way possible to solve it.
You know, Mike, couple things, and again, I relate to healthcare, but you know, the way to have better patient care is to put the nurses more in the room and get other stuff off their table, and that's what you did.
Sure.
That's what you did with the teachers, and I'm sure they appreciated that and recapture those teachers, because teachers went into education to teach.
Right.
Right. But you know, you've really, and probably just natural instincts, but you really followed a lot of good research from Harvard, particularly John Cotter, on creating a transformation, which you have done. And first one he says is, number one, have a burning platform. Well, your F created that burning, or D created that burning platform, and you, and as Reggie said, the city. Number two is get the critical mass, which is for you, get all the faculty involved. But number three, just like you said, have some success along the way, and then don't declare victory. And the other thing you did in reading through this is, again, so magic. This is where Gallup comes in. They said, you know, whether it be a student or an employee, if they feel cared about, they'll then go that extra mile.
Sure. And
I think what you did is you said it right here throughout. You created relationships.
Right.
You created relationships first, you with the teachers, I'm sure, and then the teachers with the students.
Sure.
And why yours is so good is it not about just Melton High School here, because if you look at your poverty, and it's very similar to a lot of other high schools in the area.
Sure it is.
And they can come and learn. And I ask this in healthcare, and it's always a pretty dismal answer. So, because I'll find a great success story, and I'll say, well, how many people have visited you? And they say, none, one. I mean, with this success, have you had many other principals in Escambia and Santa Rosa County sort of give you a call and say, can we come up and spend a day or two learning?
Absolutely, absolutely. There's a lot of the principals around the local area. We've spent some time together, and not only folks learning from us, but us learning from
Sure.
other folks. We, matter of fact, early on in our first year, the first year that I became principal, I looked at the next 10 highest schools above us across the state. And we reached out to all 10 of those schools to find out what they are doing because maybe they were higher in one area than we were. And we tried to offer them, hey, you know, we're doing a little better in this area. Let's offer you something and try to get something from you. And we have done that every year.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to say that each and every year we have outscored all 10 of those teams, or all 10 of those schools the next year. But we really believe in sharing. And we believe in learning from other
It's the power
schools
of
as well.
benchmarking. You know, one of the things the Studer Institute exists is, one, to show the dashboard, show the data, just like you said, not deny the data. Right. Number two is provide bright spots. And the reason we want to show bright spots is we could show a bright spot in Charleston. We could show a bright spot in Atlanta. But to show bright spots in your own geographic area takes away the reason it can't happen here. Sure. And hopefully we can do that. And then again, to thank you and people and put on your video and really learn from you, because this is, as I said in my column, which obviously is not your favorite, seeing that you said Mike was your favorite. But however, what I talked about is, you know, I never, until I came down to Florida, I never heard this, I don't have a dog in the hunt. And my gosh, when it comes to educating children, there's no one that does not have a dog in this hunt.
Right, we're all affected. We're all affected by
So what about the teachers? You know, you got teachers and they're a little frustrated. They're a D and they're still working their tails off, working real hard. How did you re-engage the faculty?
Well, we knew that our school was not a D school. our letter grade said D, and the public looking at our school, it looked like a D school, but inside our school, we knew we had pockets of great things happening.
Pockets.
And so what we did is we looked at those pockets of great things happening and tried to make some of these things happen campus-wide. But our teachers bought into looking at what was going on in their own classroom, and let's really digging into that data. That data doesn't lie. And being secure enough to know, this is showing we're having problems with 9th grade, whatever the subject area is, and let's work on that subject area. And I might be one of the teachers in that subject area, and let's turn things around by seeing exactly where the weakness is, what standards we're weakest on, and attacking those standards with good quality instruction.
You did a lot of one-on-one too, didn't you?
Yeah, we had to have a lot of one-on-one. I can't overemphasize the fact that we have teachers that will personally pay for kids to take an ACT test or get personally involved with helping a kid get dinner. It's that relationship.
Yeah.
It is that relationship. It is so important. You said it earlier. If that kid believes in that teacher and that teacher believes in that kid, magic is going to happen. And it starts with those relationships.
Now, Reggie, you said that Mike keeps a special book of certain kids in his office.
One of the hardest things I faced in putting this story together was deciding what to put in and what to leave out, because he provided me with so much good information. One thing that I wasn't able to put in the story was a book, and I can't recall the name of the book, but it was a black book that had a list of students who were on the verge of not graduating, and they put special focus on them to make sure that they would graduate, and he called it the Miracle 33. Miracle 33, and they put special emphasis on that. But one thing that Diane Scott said about Mike that stood out was that he eats, sleeps, and drinks Milton High School. I mean, when she said that, I was like, this man really loved the school. He grew up in Milton. He went to high school there. He went to middle school in Milton, and he's a Milton homegrown guy.
Absolutely.
And he loves his community. And another thing that stands out about Mike is that I think I may be making emphasis here, that he understands what it takes to overcome challenges. Mike wanted to be an astronaut when he was in high school. It was his senior year. He had a stroke, a massive stroke, derailed his career, changed his whole focus. Instead of going to become an astronaut, he became a great principal. So I think his ability to overcome challenges is one reason why he was able to help his schools teach them how to overcome
And look at how many lives you are touching because of that.
Well, I think I learned early on when I went through that situation that excuses will not get us anywhere.
Yeah.
And that's the culture we have on our campus. Our teachers I can't overemphasize how unbelievable our teachers are. They do not make excuses. They just make kids get diplomas. Is what
So when they got their D, they pretty much said, hey, we don't think we're a D school, but obviously it sort of shows up that way. So instead of denying the problem, fighting the data, let's take that energy and try a few new techniques. Let's grab these kids that are more at-risk kids, and not ignore the AB students, but realize we might need to give these kids more emphasis.
Sure.
I love the data. Check, what happened in 8th grade?
Yeah.
Gee, parents, something happened here. What happened here? Go back and then create that relationship, and then you move these results. Your graduation rates now, the 82.7% of your kids graduate.
Sure.
When if we look at the overall, we're at sometimes 60, low 60s,
Sure.
50% of African American. But I even love the fact that you're not happy with that.
No,
It's not enough.
no, it's not enough. Folks say, "Oh, your graduation rate is really well. We're doing really, really good, especially your graduation rate with your at-risk students." We have a very high graduation rate with at-risk students, as at-risk students are defined by the state. That's great, except for that percentage that does not graduate. It's still hard to look in their eyes.
You got in here. Your goal is to make
100%.
sure every 100%.
100%.
That's it.
We won't rest.
Well,
till we
thank
get
you for what you
100%.
do.
Sure.
Thank you very much. Just quickly, how did you get the parents to buy in? Parent involvement is a key thing,
Sure.
and that can be tough with some of the population of kids that you're trying to
We
reach.
put together an organization that we call Panther Parents Plugged In, and we try to grab them when they're young, grab them when the students are in 9th grade, and really starting in 8th grade. to get our parents engaged, used to coming up to the school for something more than football games.
Not that there's anything wrong
Not
with
that
it.
there's anything wrong with that, especially if you're having a good season. But try to get parents involved with coming up and us teaching them about some of the offerings at the school, us bringing them up and showing them what a state assessment is all about, showing them how to help their child with a research paper, with a math homework activity, help their child be successful in a science classroom. We really work hard to make our parents feel very comfortable with being on our campus. We also try to reach out to parents on great things that students are doing. Getting a call from the principal doesn't always mean something bad. It can
Yeah.
mean something
That's
good. So we try to do that as well because we want our community to feel very comfortable with coming up and being engaged on our campus.
Well, thank you so much for sharing what you've done, and we wish you all the best and getting to 100%. I feel like if anybody can get there, y'all are going to get there.
We're going to get it one way or
Thank you
another.
very much. If you stick around, we will be right back.